Okay, so it's 7 and we'll start. Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing?
Yeah, doing fine.
Awesome.
Great. Can you please come on camera if possible? Amazing. A very warm welcome to all of you to our speech marathon at the Gabbys Toastmaster Club. Before we begin with the meeting, I would like to highlight few of the key points which are really important to keep in mind during the next 2 hours of the meeting. Your video should be on and audio should be off. Audio should be on only when you are called to speak or need to speak. Regarding the topics of sex, religion, and politics, even though Toastmaster International does not put any restriction on speaking on these topics, at the Gabbys Toastmaster Club, however, we request all the speakers and role takers to be mindful and responsible and abstain from expressing any controversial views on these sensitive topics. Also, urge you to be cognizant of the fact that we as a club practice diversity and inclusion in letter and in spirit. Hence, ensure there are no sexist, racist, or any such undertones which create hostility and discomfort for members or guests. These are the rules which I would like to have, like you all to follow during our meeting. Now, let me call upon our presiding officer of the day. Our presiding officer of the day is a certified image consultant and a soft skill trainer by profession. Her interest in public speaking and leadership skill made her join Toastmaster. She's a double triple crown winner and double path breaker. She's also the founder of Imaginatic Image Consulting Services. Over to you, Toastmaster Shrilakshmi Hegde.
Thank you for such a warm welcome, Toastmaster Chaitanya, fellow Toastmasters and guests. That was Toastmaster Chaitanya, our sergeant at arms for our today's meeting. Can we have a big round of applause for him? A very good evening to all of you. It's my pleasure to be presiding of over Gabby's speech marathon. I would like to welcome and acknowledge the presence of our guest at our today's meeting. Dear guests and visiting Toastmasters, we appreciate you joining us. Due to paucity of time, we won't have an opportunity to have each of you introduce yourself, but we would love to know you. So I would request all the guests to give brief introduction of you in chat box. At the end, you can share of your intros. We'll also allow to ask your feedback at the end of meeting. Also, please join the Gabbys guest group, WhatsApp group. You can join. You can scan, which is in the Zoom background. You can scan and join our group also. For the benefit of non-Toastmaster guests, I would want to reiterate that the Toastmaster is a home for people who wish to overcome the fear of public speaking. It is also a platform which helps us in building our leadership skills, networking skills, and communication skills. It is the nearly 100-year-old legacy. Now it has spanned over more than 100+ countries. Now moving ahead with our meeting, today we are having speech marathon today. In regular meetings, we have 3 sections. That is prepared speech, table topic section, and evaluation section. But today we have only 2 sections. First is prepared speech, and the next is evaluation section. Now let me introduce GE of our today's meeting, who already started evaluating our today's meeting. Let me call DTM Akshay Singh to give brief intro of his role and his team. DTM Akshay Singh, he is currently a charter member of 2 clubs, All Elite Advanced Toastmasters and Goregaon Speaker Community Toastmasters, and serving as VPE. Akshay's achievement in Toastmaster include being recognized as Toastmaster of the Year, Distinguished Area Director, and President Distinguished Division Director. Professionally, he works as a data engineer at IDFC and in an enthusiastic volunteer for educational, environmental, and empowerment initiatives. In his free time, Akshay enjoys poetry, cycling, solving Rubik's cubes, and collaborating with Toastmaster worldwide. DTM Akshay, over to you.
Happy evening and thank you, Shrilakshmi. Let's have a round of applause for our presiding officer. With this, let me share what the general evaluator role was all about. The general evaluator shall take care of two parts of this segment. The first, wherein the general evaluator teams will share the report on the aspect of time, as well as you all will know whether you have overutilized, underutilized, or been seamless in your time utilization. The second aspect is wherein I will be calling the speech evaluators so that they can share feedback to each and every speaker part of the speech marathon. The third segment is wherein I shall share feedback for all of us such that we can improve better the next time we are on the stage. I would love to hear a lot of feedback from you as well about my role at the end of the meeting. With this, let me first introduce our first role player, which is Timer. To speak about the Timer, she has 30 plus years of experience in the academia as a principal and now as a trainer. She is the mother of two wonderful children, and one of them, that is her son Sourav, has introduced her to Toastmasters. And yes, she is another speech crafter who is now all set to become a Toastmaster. So put up your hands and welcome Toastmaster Srijitha Raj as the Timer for today.
Thank you, General Evaluator. So as a timer today, we cannot hold time, but we can definitely measure how much time we are spending on what. And today, my role is just to keep a tab on how long are you taking on your speeches. The speeches are of 4 to 6 minutes. There, at the 4-minute time, I will be showing you the card of yellow. This is it. And at the 5 minutes, it is green. And at the 6 minute, it will be red. The speech that is to be of 5 to 7 minutes, I'll be showing the green card at 5 minutes, the yellow card at 6 minutes, and the red card at 7 minutes. There is one speech which is by DTM Sourav Dutta, which will be of a duration of 10 to 15 minutes. I'll show the green card at 10 minutes, the yellow card at 13 minutes, and the red card at 15 minutes. The evaluators, they will get a time of 2 to 3 minutes. A green card at 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds will see the yellow card. And at 3 minutes, I will be showing the red card. Of course, there will be a 30 minutes grace period. Thank you. That's all from me today.
Thank you, Timer Srijitha. Let us now hand the stage back to our enthusiastic presiding officer, Toastmaster Shrilakshmi, to take the meeting and the speech marathon forward.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akshay Singh. Now let's start with speech marathon. Now let me call on first speaker. Our first speaker for today is Toastmaster Maanvi Kumar. He is a biotechnologist turned into psychology enthusiast, currently pursuing PGD in training and development from ISTD Delhi. Aside of being a student, her keen interest lies in interacting with new faces and making friends. Maanvi is attempting her icebreaker speech, and her path is effective coaching. The purpose of this project is for member to introduce himself or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of public speaking. She will be evaluated by Toastmaster Sanjay Jain. Timer, please note her time limit is 4 to 6 minutes. Maanvi Kumar, rebirth Maanvi Kumar. All the best, Maanvi Kumar.
A female has 3 births in her life. First, when she is born. Second, when she gets married. And third, when she becomes a mother. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests present here. What if I tell you not only a female, but every single individual can have not only three, but as many births as they want, that too in one life? You'll get to know the reason why I said this, but for that you have to stay till the end of my speech. Whenever I met someone, may it be online or offline, I heard one thing in common. That is, you look shy, calm, and you even carry introverted personality. I agree with all of them, but do you think they know the reason behind my nature? Or do you know the reason behind my personality? The reason behind my personality are my rebirths. Rebirths in one life, in this only life. First birth was when I was born. It was hot, burning April morning when the clock struck 9. The nurse came out and said, "Congratulations, it's a girl." That was my first day in this world. The date was 17. To be frank, I don't remember the first 2 years of my life. But what I remember is after those 2 years, my favorite teacher started teaching me. She taught me how to crawl, how to walk, how to talk, eating, loving, caring, being in discipline. She taught each and every lesson that a person needs to lead a happy and successful life. She is none other than my mother. After that, I started my schooling, was pretty good in it, and completed my 10th with a good score of 86%. Here, I selected PCB with computers and completed my 11th. But after 11th, there was something on personal end that happened. We went to a family function, or I should say at a relative's place, in an event where one of the relatives tried hurting me. But I was brought up so confident by my mother that I stood against that person and I was safe. But we all know these type of incidents somewhere or the other affects a person not physically but mentally and emotionally. The same happened with me. I stopped going to school. I stopped going to relatives' place. I neither wanted to have a conversation with friends nor with relatives. This was the time when my savior came into my life. Not actually in my life, but in this situation. He counseled me. He taught me how to gain my confidence back, and he helped me gain multiple skills that were important to lead and to face people around the world. He was none other than my father, a businessman by profession, but a life coach who saved my life. I then started doing my post graduation and post graduation in biotechnology. This was the time when something again happened, and not only in my life, but in everyone's life here. COVID came into existence. That changed everyone's life. We all were stuck in four walls. Everyone stopped traveling. People were afraid of having a conversation with each other. And this was a drastic change for everyone. But you know what? This came as an opportunity for me because I was never happy in biotechnology and science. So I switched my field here because the courses and studies went online. I moved to psychology and continued with going into counseling. Currently, I am pursuing PhD in training and development. Wondering when my next birth happened? For your information, I have been a Toastmaster since January 2020. But I played different EC roles and even in contests. But what exactly I was scared of was giving speeches and doing TMOD role. My next birth happened when I joined Gabbys 1 month back, and in a week's frame when I had a conversation with my mentor. I'm here giving my first icebreaker speech and almost completed it. It is my next birth. I took my baby step in the journey towards being a confident and successful speaker, I believe. Our rebirths help us be the better version of ourselves. These are something that will help us grow. So don't feel scared of coming out of your comfort zone and taking births. I took mine. Toastmaster of the day. When are you going to take your next birth? Over to you.
Congratulations, Maanvi Kumar. It's great to know your journey from the day you were born to till now. It's a very emotional speech. As it's the first icebreaker speech, it's our tradition. I request everyone to stand up and give a standing applause. Thank you, everyone. Now let's move to speaker 2. Our speaker 2 is Bimpy Kumari. She is based out to Bangalore working in IT firm. She loves to travel and cooking. She's also attempting her icebreaker speech. Her path is presentation mastery. The purpose of this project is for members to introduce themselves to the club and learn basic structure of a public speech. She will be evaluated by Chetana B. Timer, please note her time limit is also 4 to 6 minutes. Bimpy Kumari. My life in nutshell. Bimpy Kumari.
Okay. Good evening to all Toastmaster. So I'm Bimpy Kumari. Today I took opportunity to introduce myself in front of all the Gabbys Toastmaster. So I born in truly beautiful place, which is also a birthplace of Aryabhat, Guru Govind Singh, and also known for famous festival Chhat Puja. Do you know, guys, which place it is? It is Bihar. Yeah, I belongs to Patna, Bihar, and bought up different cities and different places, starting from Siliguri, West Bengal, and then I moved to Hazaribagh, Jharkhand, and then lastly I did my graduation from Gwalior, MP. During my childhood, I always memorize celebrating Chhat Puja during my summer vacations. So Chhat Puja festival is worshipping the sun god. My mother attuned to keep fasting for 4 days with no food, no water. And it is like celebrated, it is celebrated twice in a year, March and November. So moving to the next chapter of my life. So since I am from defense background, I moved to new place, Hazaribagh, Jharkhand. So there I learned how to like adapt with the new places, new people, meeting new people, etc. So there I used to get ample amount of opportunities for extracurricular activities. And moving to after this, I moved to new place and I did my graduation from MP Gwalior, which is also known for Mansingh Fort. It is really beautiful fort over there. So by seeing my parents doing hard work for our education, even I observed from them, I need to like focus more on my education and my studies. Then I focused my education and studies during my graduation. And then, however, at the last, in my batch, somehow I scored 4th rank out of my batch. And then my Bangalore days, if I'm introducing myself and I'm not talking about my Bangalore days, it is not like fulfilling. So I have during my, after my graduation, I had 2 options. One, doing masters or go for a job. So I opted for going for a job and I came to Bangalore, only knowing one single friend from my college. Then here my schedule was like giving, seeing for the interview schedules and then going for that interview, giving interview. Then one day we found one opening in a company called HCL, and then we went there. Morning itself, I went and given my interview, and then cleared all the round. I don't know, at the last moment, like last HR round, I couldn't able to select. I was not selected for that company. I was got little demotivated during that time. And then I began with next interview, later on given more interviews. And then I got one call from one of the MNC company. It was referred by somebody else. And then I have given interview in that company. And it was like 1 day process, and given technical interview and then HR, and got selected for that. I was really surprised and cheerful for this at the same time. Then this is my first job ever in my IT career. And like in free time during COVID, I have observed, I have like started doing adventure on a lot of things. It can be from cooking or baking cake, or preparing white sauce pasta or noodles, or what it is not. And then little bit I'm doing gardening as well, going for a solo trip, and then painting wasted or unused bottle as well. And also started developing reading books as well nowadays. So, and joining Toastmaster, like I came to know about Toastmaster with one of my friend, who is also like my colleague as well as my college friend. So I came to know from her, and giving interviews and all was like keep boosting my confidence, but it was not enough. Then I came to know about Toastmaster, and I need to learn about the leadership skills over here. So it was the best platform for me to like keep up and learn the leadership skill. When I joined this Gabbys Toastmaster, I came to know here not only for leadership skills, here we can learn many more things. It could be like presentation, or it could be like taking responsibilities, or learning how to deliver a speech with effective speech. And this is all from my end. Over to Toastmaster Shrilakshmi. Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations, Bimpy Kumari, for delivering a successful icebreaker. And it's nice to hear your journey. It's great. It's a great journey from Bihar to Bangalore. I request everyone to give a standing applause for our icebreaker speech. Thank you, everybody. Now let's move ahead. Let me call our speaker number 3. Speaker number 3 is Srijitha Raj. Srijitha Raj, an undergraduate student of psychology. She is passionate about health, literature, courage and spirituality, committed to working for the education system of India. She is currently building a blog, a mental health intervention, and chaotic hairstyle. Her project details is connect with your audience. She's attempting her L2P2 project. Her path is innovative planning. The purpose of this project is for members to practice the skills needed to connect with unfamiliar audience. Timer, please note her time limit is 5 to 7 minutes. She will be evaluated by Toastmaster Punith CK, Srijitha Raj, the Holy Trinity, Srijitha Raj.
How many of you have or know someone who has a chronic illness like diabetes, hypertension, migraine? A show of hands? Thank you. And how many of you have found yourself fed up of not finding a permanent cure for these illnesses and looking out towards alternative therapies to get relief? Anyone? Okay, very few people. And today I'm here to narrate my story of how I found myself at such a juncture, because I was fed up of my migraine. I couldn't read, couldn't study, couldn't achieve like the high I had of since my high school days, couldn't even focus. And I was done. I could give anything to not have the 24/7 ache in my head. And I found an Instagram post which elaborated how yoga helps people with such diseases. And I told my mother the very evening, "Ma, find me a yoga class." What? Why do you want to go to a yoga class all of a sudden? To fix myself. My mother, flummoxed but supportive, endeavored to find a yoga class, and luckily we found one in our neighborhood. It started at 6 a.m. and I joined. The first day I went there was weird because this was a yoga class for women only above 50 years of age. And I am 90. I had a really hard time blending myself in and also bending myself for the yoga asanas. How many of you have struggled bending yourself for the yoga asana? Ever? Again, very few people, right? But I saw one very enthusiastic shake of hand. Thank you so much for that. But eventually, step by step, I did bend myself, stretch myself, and my symptoms started scrunching themselves up bit by bit, and I was hopeful. And then came this one magical thing called Murcha Pranayama. Now, this is one very simple breathwork exercise which I want you all to try with me today. Can I have you all on camera, please? Just for a few seconds. Thank you so much. I see people turning on their camera. Now, Murcha, the Hindi word, technically means faint, but do not worry, you're not going to faint. And I request you to close your eyes. No cheating. Please close your eyes. And as you're inhaling, please bend your head backward so as to face the ceiling. And hold. Open your eyes and gaze at the ceiling for as long as you can without exhaling. As soon as you think you're done, you cannot hold any longer. Close your eyes, tilt your head back forward, exhaling. When your face is towards your screen, open your eyes. Now, this is a simple exercise which I'm pretty sure did nothing for you at all. But for me, this exercise magically, immediately cleared up that throbbing headache in the back of my head. And I was like, Murcha Pranayam, where have you been all these years? And slowly and steadily, I was hooked to the practice of yoga. I started reading about diet, about waking up in the morning, about morning routines, about what I need to eat, how I need to breathe. And I came across the Holy Trinity, which changed my life. The three members of this Holy Trinity are Ayurveda, the science of a long life, Dharana, the techniques of concentrating all of your energy on one point or source, and yoga, the science of the union of the mind, body, and spirit. Now, I'm not going to go all Baba over you and explain to you what are the very specifics of each of these. But slowly and steadily with these practices, my symptoms started to disappear. And I was very thankful, but it was the quantum of that change and that improvement which completely took me off my feet. In less than 4 months, I was experiencing totally headache-free days after 4 years of unceasing pain. There were times when the plain relief brought tears to my eyes, and no one could explain why I was crying. Maybe it was just the thank you which words could have never expressed. And this also taught me the value of experimenting, of trying new things, and of opening new doors for yourself in hope of improvement, and of making new choices for your health. We live in a world where there are 100 diets, 100 lifestyle plans, 100 workouts, and a million ways of living a healthy life. I chose mine. And I have come today in front of you with the hope that my story would inspire you to choose yours. And it could also be a very different one if you need to have a different way of living your normal life. Because each one of us aspire to have a normal, but each one of us have a very different normal. And my Holy Trinity brought me to my definition of normal. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Congratulations, Toastmaster Srijitha Raj, for delivering a successful speech. And thank you for telling about benefits of yoga, how it helps us curing diseases. Congratulations, delivering successful project. Now, let me call our speaker number 4. Our speaker number 4 is Toastmaster Sanjana Garai. She is a student of IIT Varanasi and is currently pursuing her BTech, MTech in mathematics and computing. She loves riding her dad's bike, playing badminton, reading books on business, trekking, and wakeboarding. She is keen to start her own brand that will bring out a positive change in society. Her path is persuasive influence. That is the purpose of project is she's attempting her L4P1 project using descriptive language. The purpose of this project is for member to writing a speech with an emphasis on adding language to increase interest and impact. Timer, please note her time limit is 5 to 7 minutes. She will be evaluated by Toastmaster Shaifali Singh. Toastmaster Sanjana speech title is The Leap of a Lifetime. The Leap of a Lifetime, Toastmaster Sanjana.
Before I start, am I visible? Am I audible?
Yes, you are visible and audible.
Can you repeat the title and then I'll begin? I'm sorry.
Okay, sure. The Leap of a Lifetime, Toastmaster Sanjana Garai. Toastmaster Sanjana Garai, The Leap of a Lifetime.
Perched on the 4th floor balcony, gazing anxiously, looking down at the hard ground, I readied myself for the daring leap of a lifetime. You might think that this risky situation came about because of a conflict between me and my parents, or maybe a conflict between me and my best friend. But no, this risky situation was because of a conflict between my mind and my heart. Fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests, have you also experienced such a conflict where your emotional self and your logical self make contradictory decisions? Have you? Can we please have a raise of hands? I see. So now let me tell you how exactly I got here. Back in the days of my 6th grade, it was the month of April. It was our Independence Day. What? Yes, our final exams had finally gotten over. We were a group of 8 girls and 8 boys. After a rigorous round of rock, paper, and scissors, a traditional decision-making strategy back then, we finally came to the conclusion that we'll play our all-time favorite, hide and seek. But with a twist, it was going to be boys versus girls. and the time limit of the game was going to be 60 minutes. What? Is that a lot? Let's see. The boys were called the seekers and the girls were the shadows. We, the shadows, had made a master plan. We had set up false alarms and secret signals. If I had used the same amount of brains while studying, I would have been doing my engineering from an Ivy League right now. Anyways, as the counting began, we stealthily moved towards our hiding spots. And as the number 100 resonated in the air, we all became alert, very alert. 15 minutes into the game, they could find none. Our plan was working. But 20 minutes later, 2 of us were found. 30 minutes, 4 found. 45 minutes, 7 found. Only 1 left. Only me. The other 7 shadows had swayed the seekers into believing that I was hiding near the convenience store, whereas I was hiding in the house farthest away from there. 10 minutes left, and one of the seekers realized that they had been deceived by the shadows, and he ran directly towards me. He began climbing to the 4th floor, where I was hiding in the back balcony. My heart began pounding. Dug, 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 dug. I looked around for an invisible cloak. Couldn't I become invisible? Or could I? Yes, I could. Right in front, there was the front balcony of the opposite house, almost touching, just 20 inches apart. The footsteps grew louder. Perched on the 4th floor balcony, gazing anxiously down at the hard ground. I got ready for the daring leap of a lifetime, knowing that a single misstep could mean risking my entire life. My mind screamed, Sanjana, no, though there's very little chance of failure, but it's not worth the risk. Don't jump. But my heart on the other side said, go warrior, go. Take the leap and show the boys what the girls are capable of. The footsteps grew louder, and on the count of 3, 2, 1, I jumped! And I landed on the hard ground of the opposite balcony. I jolted down to the parking lot and I hid there. And as the clock announced the end of 60 minutes, I pulled myself out, dusted myself, shoulders squared, with a spring in every step. I went and presented myself to the depressed seekers, the shadows cheering for me. But today, as I look back, my shoulders shrug. Maybe that act made me look like a superhero, but the decision wasn't rational. In situations of extreme emotions like these, our emotional self looks at short-term glorification, whereas our logical self always looks at the larger picture. So the fundamental question is, what do we do in these circumstances? Do we listen to our logic, or do we give in to our emotions? As Lord Krishna rightly said, never make decisions when you're having extreme emotions. Take a deep breath. Let your mind come back to normalcy. Look at the situation, the available options and their consequences from the outside, and then make the best possible decision. If applied to my case, I should have looked for better hiding spots. And even if not available, I should have just got caught. It was a mere game of hide and seek, not a matter of our privilege. To summarize, don't sacrifice what you want most for what you want now. I repeat, don't sacrifice what you want most for what you want now. Thank you.
Congratulations, Toastmaster Sanjana, for delivering a successful speech. Yes, your speech was very emotional and touching. That is, we shouldn't take any major decisions when we are very emotional. We should take decisions when we are very calm down. Wonderfully delivered. Congratulations, delivering a successful speech. Now, let me call our speaker number 5, Toastmaster Chitrakshi. Toastmaster Chitrakshi is a double pathbreaker in 8 months of her Toastmaster journey and secretary of the Gabbys Toastmaster Club. She has empowered over 2,000 individuals to secure promotions, as interviews, and excel in their visual and vocal communications. With an adventurous spirit and a love for off-road journeys, she fearlessly navigates life just like her trusty old Jeep, driven by her passion for making a meaningful impact. Toastmaster Chitrakshi aspires to positively transform the lives of millions individuals by the year 2033. Her path is dynamic leadership. Her project is manage change. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice developing a change management plan. The purpose of this speech is for member to share some aspect of change management plan. Timer, please note her time limit is 5 to 7 minutes. She will be evaluated by Toastmaster Veera Shanti Ram. Her Toastmaster Chitrakshi with Game of Thrones. Toastmaster Game of Thrones, Toastmaster Chitrakshi with.
Before we proceed with Chitrakshi's speech, her evaluator is Toastmaster Sahana.
Okay.
You want to make a note?
Okay, Toastmaster Sahana. She will be evaluated by Toastmaster Sahana. Toastmaster Chitrakshi will be evaluated by Toastmaster Sahana. Game of Thrones, Toastmaster Chitrakshi with Game of Thrones.
This is my throne, my role to keep. As the secretary of the Gabbys Toastmasters Club, how am I going to save my throne? Yeah, well, that's what you'd expect, right? We have the Gabbys and the Gabbys Toastmasters Club. That's what I expected. So the second my mentor came and told me that I would be the secretary of the Toastmasters Club, of my Gabbys Toastmasters Club, I was elated. And just after the installation ceremony, we got to know that we are going to split the Gabbys into 2 clubs. We have the Gabbys and the Gabbys Online Toastmasters Club. What? Hey, that was my role. I was the secretary. How could you take that away from me? Not cool. Not cool. No. This is my time in the sun, my spotlight. You can't steal that away from me. Why would you do that? Well, these are some of the thoughts that went on in my mind. But more than that, my question was, what do I have to do as a secretary? Tell me that. The question that most of us asked when the Gabbys and the Gabbys Online Club became 2 different clubs was why? And that always intrigued me. This was a major change. It was like shifting houses. When children start to grow up, families buy bigger houses so that there's more space for everyone. But is that a good change? At home, it feels wow. But here, it felt bad. How are we going to work together? What's going to happen? You're going to fight over it. Why do we need that change? What is wrong with everyone? We have 2 different clubs. Now we won't be the Gabbys family anymore. That's not fair. Why would someone do that? And with this question, I went to the architects of this change. The architects, 3 distinguished Toastmasters that we have in our clubs. So when talking to the 3 of them, I got a common answer. 1, we were rising. An educational award that we thought was just something to get everyone together became such a big deal. We became the number 7 club in the world. Is that what we aim for? No. We just aim for more participation. So then why the division? On dwelling deeper into it, on deep diving into this change, I realized that this was a good change. Most people change or divide assets or distinguish between people when there is a problem. And when the problem gets bigger, the change is bound to happen. The split is bound to happen. However, because of the 3 architects of change, because of their vision, this division was not a division. They knew that we were at an all-time high. Emotions were running high. We were number 7. We were doing so well. We were winning educational awards after educational awards. And this was the best time to make a decision which would help everyone. Maybe not right now, but in the future, this is what everyone would want. Something that maybe I did not understand as a member. Maybe something I did not even understand as a secretary. But maybe something I understood when I heard the issues that were happening because of one club. There were a lot of clubs in the division who had 70 plus members. When looking at their educational awards, only 10% people were getting the educational awards. Did we want to become a club like that? No. What did we want then? So the easy question was to ask the VPE. She wasn't the one adding members over adding members. When I asked the VP education of our club, why this change? She said, as much as I want to help everyone here, isn't it too much of my time? I needed some support. Well, that makes sense, but why didn't you ask us? We could have all helped out. Everyone helps and takes accountability when there comes a responsibility on the shoulders. So when you're given the power and responsibility, you tend to fall in the flow. And surprisingly, if I think about the last 2 months, that's exactly what happened. In the moment, I was helping the VP, being her support. But how much time could I give to her? And today, everything seems to flow naturally. When asking the VP membership, he just said, I don't want there to be chaos. I want everything to flow seamlessly. That made sense. So we weren't Game of Thrones. We were actually friends. We got together. From Game of Thrones, we became one meeting at Central Park, which was our Zoom call, once a week for 1 hour. All the XCOM coming together and dividing responsibility. So we're not fighting or saying, hey, I'm the secretary, you're not, or I'm the president, you're not. We said, presidents, what are your problems? And secretaries, how can we solve your problems together? So over a cup of tea or coffee, Chalti Hai Kya 9 se 12, which is 9 to 12, we sat down together to brainstorm and solve the challenges of change. Today, not just 50 members, they're not those 50 members who are running for educational awards that I started with in January. Instead, we have 75 members who are working very hard, working together, not dividing the club, but dividing responsibility and getting the club together as one. So we are one family, just 2 clubs, and our goals, our vision, our aim, everything remains the same. So was this change difficult to manage? Most definitely. A change is always difficult to manage. It becomes easier when there's trust, when there's transparency, and when there are people to show you the vision that we are all here for. So whether it is the Gabbys or the Gabbys Online Toastmasters Club, whether the secretary is me or Sanjana, it's about winning together, staying together, being together, because we are one family. Over to you, Toastmasters today.
Congratulations, Toastmaster Chitrakshi, for delivering a wonderful speech. Yes, we are two clubs, one family, and our vision is to make Gabbys is one of the best club in world, not only in district, in the world, one of the top clubs in the world. All the members of Gabbys vision is one of the best club in world. That is our vision. Now coming to, let me call our speaker number 6, DTM Sourav Dutta. DTM Sourav Dutta is Vice President Public Relations of both the clubs, Gabbys Toastmaster Club and Gabbys Online Toastmaster Club. Distinguished Toastmaster has achieved 2 DTM awards, 3 Triple Crowns, and completed 8 paths. He is attempting his managing difficult audience project. The purpose of this project is for member to practice the skills needed to address audience challenges when he or she presents outside of the Toastmaster Club. His path is strategic relationship. Timer, please note, Sourav's time limit is 10 to 15 minutes. Toastmaster DTM Sourav Dutta will be evaluated by John Joseph. We have we already have assigned few interrupters to interrupt the speaker. I request others to mute themselves. Please, others mute themselves. Whoever we have assigned interrupt the speaker, only those people will interrupt the speaker. His speech title is Why is the Sky Blue? Why is the Sky Blue? DTM Sourav Dutta.
And when was the last time did you ask this question, Shrilakshmi? Why is the sky blue? When was the last time you asked this question, that why does the water flow, but the hills stand where they are? When was the last time you asked this question, what's the difference between a hill and a mountain? My daughter asks me these questions every day. And that got me curious. What's the science behind curiosity? Why do we get curious? And why do we stop getting curious? Or do we at all stop getting curious? So I will share with you today 5 dimensions of curiosity. What are the 5 things that drive curiosity? But before that, let me tell you one thing. You do not need to keep yourself muted. You can actually unmute yourself and you can ask me any questions anytime you want. Having said that, it doesn't matter whether you have been assigned roles or not assigned roles. Having said that, if we want the speech to flow, and if you really want to know what are the 5 dimensions of curiosity, you can always Google them up, but you will not get the story behind the fact.
I'm curious, DTM Sourav. You mentioned having said that twice. Was that important, or shall we also do the same? Having said that, shall I be asking you this question? Having said that, shall I be talking more on the same subject, or you're just intrigued enough to answer my question?
Yes, so that's again curiosity at play, right? So this is exactly what I want. A lot of curious questions to come in during the session, and we will definitely handle them as we go. And we will answer your question, and I will let you, Nancy, figure out that which dimension of curiosity that question fits in. And then we will match our answers towards the end of the speech. So let's proceed. What's the first dimension of curiosity? Why do kids get curious? The joy of exploration. The joys of exploration. As a kid, when you see things happening around you, when you see things which is a little outside the normal, you get curious, you ask questions. You ask questions to your parents, to your teachers, to your friends. And it's important for us to give the right answers. It's important that they get the right answers. There's questions around sexuality. There's questions around other people's behavior. And this is the joys of exploration. Each of us have gone through that, and that's how we started building our base of learning. That's how we have started identifying patterns. My daughter, for instance, whenever she sees a girl or a woman riding a motorbike, would say, "Papa, why is she riding a motorbike?" I said, "Why? What is the problem?" "No, only men ride motorbikes." Why? Because she saw that I ride a motorbike, and women generally in our neighborhood, they generally, they would ride a non-gear two-wheeler, like a scooty or a pleasure, something like that. So I addressed her curiosity. I explained to her. It is something like that.
Nancy, I have a question. Saurav's speech title is Dimensions of Curiosity, but I'm curious, how can curiosity have dimensions? Like, I mean, is it a measure? I mean, can you measure curiosity? Is it a 3 centimeter by 4 centimeter square or something? Nancy, I think the title isn't clear, right? What do you say?
Whatever, Sanjana, you're saying, I have been taught during my engineering days as well, this Pythagoras theorem and what not, these numerical methods. And I'm still not able to figure out whatever dimensions we have learned. Till
And
date,
hence you
we are
joined,
not able to
hence you
use them
joined
at
this
all.
meeting, right,
So what's
Nancy?
the
That's the
point of
reason.
talking about the dimensions?
That is the reason you're here, Nancy, because you wanted that curiosity to be addressed, that what is this 5 dimensions. So let me address your question first, Sanjana. You were curious, rightly so, but you addressed the curiosity to the wrong person. Since I've taken the stage, let me address that question. So the dimensions of curiosity here is 5 by 5. So 5 points and an explanation of that for the next 5 minutes or so. Thank you. Let's move on. So the joys of curiosity, after that comes the thrill of curiosity. The thrill that we get in the teenage, the thrill of discovering those things which we are not supposed to do. Things that our parents said, don't do this. Don't watch those kind of movies. Don't go out with those friends. Don't smoke, don't drink, don't go out for late night parties. Don't ride a bike and don't try wheeling. And every time they said, don't, he said, let's try it. Let's try it out. Let's see what happens. That's the thrill of curiosity. The thrill of riding a bike at 120 kilometers per hour. The thrill of drinking after you have downed at least 3 large bottles of whiskey.
DTM Sourav, Dutta, with all due respect, this is a Toastmasters meeting. How can you talk about driving, drinking, watching things that are forbidden? I'm sorry, that's inexcusable. You can't talk like that. This is a Toastmasters meeting.
Absolutely, this is a Toastmaster meeting, and thank you for reminding everyone that they are in a Toastmaster meeting and they need to keep their cameras on for a better connection with the speakers. Thank you so much.
No, but you also have to be mindful of how you're talking. Their cameras are fine.
Absolutely. We will come back to that. Chitrakshi, we will come back to that. So what is, so do you know why, so Chitrakshi, before that question, did you ask yourself ever that why are you a Toastmaster? Why are you called a Toastmaster, not a Postmaster or a Speech Master? Where does this word toast come from?
It comes from toasting, not roasting, which you're doing right now
Toasting.
for me.
Toasting. What kind of toasting? Is it like a toasting of a bread? Is it like a toasting of a bread?
It's not the toasting of a bread, nor is it roasting of another Toastmaster, but this is not okay. There are so many teenagers. I can see Sanjana with her camera right here, and you're talking about riding a motorcycle.
If they're in a Toastmaster meeting, they are in 18 plus years, so they can ride a motorcycle, and they are also in the legal age of participating in this discussion. It's a different thing that they cannot do.
So you're saying about parents, you're giving them authority to ride the motorbike at 120. This is a recorded meeting.
No,
what if someone takes offense?
Absolutely. I'm not saying that they can go and ride at 120. I'm saying that this is the thrill of curiosity, right? So let me first kill the curiosity of why we are talking about alcohol. Can we talk about alcohol? Absolutely, we can. So let me tell you, there are actually clubs in US where they have beers during the meeting. They have wines during the meeting. There is actually a club which is called the Beers and Wines Toastmasters Club. And it's very common and it's very normal. So we can absolutely talk about drinking. You can actually get your glass of whiskey when you're in the meeting. Just don't drink on the camera because other people may feel thirsty and left out. Okay, let's proceed with this. So that's the thrill of curiosity. Next, curiosity comes is because of stress. This is something that we do not look for. Unlike joys of curiosity or exploration, joys of exploration, or the thrill of curiosity, which we look forward to, which we want to do. Stress of curiosity.
Are you treating us like kids? Don't these have, bigger definitions? Don't they have titles like joyous exploration, deprivation sensitivity, stress tolerance, social curiosity, thrill seeking? Am I spoiling the fun here?
You tried it, Bindu, but I'll still take back the stage. So don't worry. Thank you for giving the lead out, but then I need to explain, right? So that's why I said at the very beginning, you can Google what I'm saying, but then you will never get the stories. So it's your choice. You listen to me for 10 to 15 minutes and you get it, or you read it out for the next 30 minutes. So I leave it to you. You read it, you hear it from someone from their own experience, or we can go and find that out. So any which ways, so let's come back to this. So, the stress, the stress curiosity, or the curiosity that is driven by stress happens when life throws a curved ball at us And we are bound to deal with that because we don't have any choices. Like, for example, if someone losing a job, then that person gets curious. Can I try a new career? For instance, if you have been, say, in the sales profession, and then you suddenly lose a job, you may want to try, what is data science all about? What is this people all talking about prompt engineering, solutions engineering? What is this thing about OpenAI and ChatGPT? Is it something that I can do? So this kind of curiosity is driven by stress. But, whoever said life is fair? And despite all the stress, curiosity, and going through all of these things, discovery, joys, exploration, and all of that, you still end up being on the wrong side of life. You still up getting those sticks instead of the carrots. And then another kind of curiosity comes in. That's a curiosity driven by deprivation. When life denies you something, that's when you go into a different kind of a negative curiosity. Why me? Why me? What have I done wrong? How to deal with stress? You start Googling. How to deal with depression? You start Googling. You try to find out various cures to your problem. And that's a curiosity driven by deprivation. Curiosity driven by deprivation is never healthy, but then that's something that you can never get out of the way. Amidst all of this, what happens is that we develop a circle as we are growing up. So as I said, my daughter, right now, she is an 8-year-old. She'll go into her teens and she'll have the thrill curiosity. Then she'll go into her adulthood where she'll have curiosity driven by stress, deprivation. As much as I want her not to go through this, she will go through this. And amidst all of this, she'll build a circle, a social circle. And that social circle would give something to her, which is called social curiosity, curiosity driven by social interactions. This is a very interesting one because this curiosity is something that's induced into you. It's a curiosity by induction. Let me give you an example. How many of you have heard about ChatGPT? How many of you have Googled ChatGPT? How many of you have tried ChatGPT? And why did you try ChatGPT? Did your work demand it?
Curiosity demanded.
Exactly. You heard people in various circles talking about ChatGPT, and you felt that not knowing ChatGPT is like being left out. The fear of FOMO drives social curiosity to a great extent. I was never on Instagram. And then I met a lot of people who said that they are Instagram influencers. And I said, okay, let me go and check what's Instagram all about. And that's how Instagram happened with me. That's how, this entire thing of trying to make reels, trying to make posts. Not that I got any traction. My number of followers on Instagram is also still half of the number of people I follow. But still, I try to do something around that. That's social curiosity. We address social curiosity in two different ways, overt and covert. Overt social curiosity is when you go and ask questions. You being in a Toastmaster meeting and asking questions like all of you are doing, like Chitrakshi said, why are you talking about alcohol? Nancy saying that, why did you use that word twice? Bindu saying that, we can just Google it up. These are some very technical, very simple terms. Why are you spending so much of time explaining them? These are the strategies of covert curiosity, covert social curiosity, where you are asking overt social curiosity, where you're asking direct questions. The other option is the covert social curiosity, where you basically try to find out without directly asking. One of the best example of something that we all do. Any guesses? What's that covert social curiosity strategy that we have for the covert strategy for addressing a social curiosity?
Googling it.
Again, all of us do that. Yes, Punith?
I was saying Google. First, I do Google.
Yes, but why am I saying covert? Okay, Punith, do you have a crush on someone?
I had.
You had? Did you go and check her account? Her Facebook account, her
Okay.
Instagram account, her pictures? Yes? Obviously you did.
Yeah, it might
Your
be.
smile, your
Yeah,
smile is
I
a
don't
dead
go.
giveaway. You did. We all did, right? Each one sitting here has gone and checked someone's social media account to find out how is this person surviving without me? Or, wow, it's been such a cool life. One of the reasons will be there, but we do go and do social stalking, right? And that is one of the best examples of covert social curiosity. In fact, I remember someone who has got a social media tagline saying that done stalking, now move on with life. So covert and overt social security, social curiosity addressal is one of the best examples of addressing social curiosity. So to sum it up, we have got 5 stages of curiosity: the joys, the thrills, the stress, the deprivation, and the social. When we say don't let the child die in you, what we basically say is that don't let the joys of curiosity go away from you. The thrills of curiosity go away from you. With time, you become responsible. With age, you become responsible. You understand that underage drinking, underage driving, drink and drive are things that you should never do. That's what life teaches you. But at the same time, don't forget to ask the question, why is the sky blue? It's now open for questions if anyone has any question on the 5 dimensions of curiosity, or if your question has not been answered by me already.
Could you repeat the 2 types of social curiosity? I couldn't get you that time.
Overt and covert, the one which is hidden and the one which is direct.
Could you repeat the meaning as well? I couldn't catch it.
Overt is where you are asking directly, like for example, what you are doing just now. You're asking me something which you don't know. And covert is where you're trying to find out without asking me. Grapevine, social stalking, these are examples of covert curiosity. So that's my time and that's my speech. Thank you so much. Back to you, Toastmaster today.
Congratulations, DTM Sourav, for handling such a challenging project. In spite of interrupting, many interrupters interrupted you. I request everyone to give him applause for handling such challenging project very calmly. Congratulations, DTM Sourav. Now let's move ahead with speaker number 7, Toastmaster Jyothi Thomas. She's a social entrepreneur, certified corporate trainer, and women entrepreneur mentor. With 30 years of varied work experience in India and Canada, your Toastmaster enthusiast with unquenchable learning desire. Her path is visionary communication. She is attempting her L5P1 first speech. The purpose of this project is for the member to develop a detailed vision of his or her personal life, professional life, or an organization. Second point is the purpose of first speech is for member to share some aspect of his or her own. Timer, please note her time limit is 5 to 7 minutes. She will be evaluated by Bindu Joseph. Her speech title is Believe. Toastmaster Jyothi Thomas, Believe.
Well, I'm sure you're probably going to think I'm a killjoy. Look at the speeches before me and look at the speech I come with now. Believe me, you will have no regrets. Brilliant speakers, so much to share. And yet I come to you with just one thought. How many of you here, fellow Toastmasters, awesome, 7th place, kudos to you, the Gabbys Club. Have you heard of the statement that we say, a slip between the cup and the lip? Anybody? You're very shy, I'm fine. I guess you have, you're a brilliant club. Now, this particular speech is about my professional work. I will not call it professional, I'm going to call it vocational because I'm a social entrepreneur, don't charge any money, not a zilch, not a penny. As you see, business or individuals will never ever be successful. How can we have the society around us going amok and we think it's all fine and dandy? What is my project? Vision. In 1999, I started an organization called CAN, Creative Artistic Network. I'm going to wait for you to see what you see over there and then later on write on the chat box. Fellow Toastmasters, the vision was to make sure there will always be a way to get around things. I was having an issue when I saw something which could have been done at a fraction of a cost, and when somebody charged an arm and a leg. It did happen. It happened with a particular organization called the Spastin when it came to me and they were charging them a whopping 2,000 rupees in 1999. And another group decided to charge 10,000 rupees. Both was not possible by the Autistic Center and the Special Needs Center. Creativity. We always say, when you're creative, you can think of a lot of things. It was then I decided with a project that I'm currently doing, fellow Toastmasters, is I set a goal. I had a timeline. I had to look at the outcome. Now, what is this project? I'm part of an organization called the FICCI Flow. And I'm sure many of you know, Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries. I happen to be part of the social projects. And this is what I've done like the back of my hand, I just know it. We started a project in March. I did the need analysis, everything done. And the project was going like, trust me, it was a song. But every time we have a project going well, there has to be something that goes amok. I lost a particular amount that I had to get for a project. This project is all about that. How do you run your project? The vision I had created felt like it was crashing in front of my eyes. What you see up there is a plan given in that particular pathway. Visionary communication. Well, what's so special about this? Fellow Toastmasters, the women you see there were given RE workshop. The plan you see there was when everything went amok, out of 5 projects, 1 project got left out because funding did not come through. I had to think of it strategically. The plan was being done, and this particular program was to see how to recreate and make sure it's done. Well, that being said, interestingly, the timeline is a killer. Purity of purpose, personal conviction, perseverance is what I looked at. We may have a lot of people, you may have a name, I've done zillion things, but remember, I'm sure all of you know, part of what comes when you see that we have good connects, when difficulties come, when challenges come your way, nothing works. There is something called as a self-directed leadership. You need to be available there. You need to think strategically. You need to go ahead. I had a lot of things that was going my way. But if you see that particular photograph, I had that bunch of people who were totally devastated. Devastated because I had over about 72 people who had completed the project and they were on their way to RE workshop, which was a self-income generation program, and this group was left behind. So today my speech is to see how am I going to take it forward. If you look at it, what is it I plan to do? In my earlier slide, you must be wondering, what did I mean by putting this out? The vision, success, strategy, and execution. Fellow Toastmasters, this particular map, vision map, I now have planned to take it directly to the beneficiaries. Alone, I can do so little. Together, we can do zillion. So my plan of action is, the deadline is August. It should have been done, but we're recreating, and I have to do it right now and take it forward and complete it by August 15th. Because I have the gift of the gab, though I'm not part of the Gabby, I got my way through and I tried to get an extension. The vision map, I plan to take it to all the women, who are about 45 of them, and I intend to get them to tell me how to go forward. Fellow Toastmasters, we may be able to plan, project, go ahead. This is just the beginning. None of us have ever become poor by giving. I will urge you all to just be there, to give, come forward. CSR, other social work. Every time you want to give and you hold back and you think, it's not enough and I'm feeling embarrassed. Remember me, Jyothi, who is working my knees off to make sure a project runs through. With that, I will be completing the project at the end of August. And this is the plan, the first speech. Thank you, and over to the Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Congratulations, Toastmaster Jyothi, for delivering a successful speech. I wish from bottom of my heart good luck for your upcoming project. Now, we are not having voting pool for today, as we have two icebreaker speeches. Now, let me hand over the stage to GE for the evaluation of an entire meeting and the evaluation of the speakers. Over to you, GE.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Shrilakshmi. And once again, happy evening to all our speakers, evaluators, members, and guests. Let us begin the speech evaluation round. The timing guidelines were already shared, but I would like to reiterate once. The speech evaluators will have 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, they will see the green card, 2.5, the yellow card, and at 3, they will see the red card with 30 seconds grace. With no further ado, let me welcome the first speech evaluator for the speech titled Rebirth, Evaluator Sanjay. Now to speak about Sanjay, he is a chartered accountant by profession, married to a lovely wife, Sushma, who is also a chartered accountant. The couple is blessed with 2 lovely children. Outside Toastmasters and accounting, Sanjay loves to play cricket and loves traveling. Over to you, Sanjay. Would recommend you to do the audio test and the timer card test before you begin.
Yeah. Good evening, Akash, and good evening all Gabbys and guests. Maanvi, specifically to you, congratulations on giving your first speech, Icebreaker. It was an excellent speech. The flow of words were very good. You were confident and rocking the stage. Your speech had a very good opening, body, and conclusion, which inspires us. You started with that you had 3 birds, which was very well thought of presenting the transformation which we face in our life, which was a very thought process. You were very well spoken about your birth, your schooling, education, marriage. You covered each part of your life. You were very bold in speaking about one incident which has impacted you very much. You spoke how your father has helped you to come out of that incident and again put you on the track, which was very inspiring to all of us. Means how the parents helps the child and make him confident again. So it was very inspiring and very well thought putting in the speech, which shows the importance of the parents and their helping hand to the child. Areas of improvement, I would like to hear from you, your hobbies, your ambition in your life, so that it would connect with others also. So that it would be more well organized. Your speech was excellent, but if you had added this in your speech, it would have added more value to your speech because you had sufficient time, I think. So you could have added this. You could have spoke about how mothers, when it gives birth to a child, what challenges it faces in the life, and that you are skipped that thing, so you could have added that also. Overall, you were confident, very well spoken. I would like to hear more speeches from you. All the best. Thank you. Over to G. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Evaluator Sanjay. Sanjay, I loved your evaluation. It was divided into the 3 parts as we recommended the CRC method. You first commended the speaker, then gave recommendations. The only 2 points which I would like you to infuse in your evaluation the next time is, first, ensure that your camera is within the central so that you are clearly visible. Second, if you are planning to read through the notes, keep it at an angle such that you have constant connect with the speaker as well as the audience to whom you are sharing the evaluation. Other than that, I believe you are doing great. Keep practicing and wish you the best for evaluation. Now to share about something about the speaker, I would like to share one line. Definitely, speaker, you have embraced the ice of change by delivering your icebreaker. The rebirth title was well structured in the content. Your expressions were clear. One thing which I want you to challenge yourself is to stay clear of certain jargons and acronyms which you use. Maybe the Toastmasters might be aware, but the guests might not know them. So try to avoid and mention the entire words, and then you can use the jargon so that you can reuse them in the speech. Otherwise, well done. Let's have a round of applause for speaker Maanvi for her icebreaker and evaluator section. All right, let's go ahead to our second speech of the day, titled My Life in a Nutshell by Bimpy. The speech shall be evaluated by Chetana, who is a loving mother, passionate podcaster, and avid student of human behavior and psychology. Would love to hear the feedback from Toastmaster Chetana about Bimpy's speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Chetana. Chetana, can you unmute yourself and then please begin?
Good evening, Toastmasters. Okay, hope all of you can hear me. Yeah, first of all, Bimpy, congratulations for breaking the ice. I think first thing, it takes courage to come and speak out and speak about yourself. Coming to your speech part, you started with confidence, and we could see the message. The things which you excelled were like I was able to get to know about you, where you're from, what are your things which has influenced you in your life till date. So starting from your Chat Puja to like the second phase when you told about meeting new people when you were shifting to places, how that had impacted you, and the values that you have imbibed from your parents, which pushed you to the achievement of scoring 4th rank in your college, right? All these things, like I could make out, I could get to know Bimpy in a better way. Last but not the least, like, of course, your Bangalore days. So all of us could relate your journey from Bihar to Bangalore in a very, very beautiful way. So the only thing which I would request you to work on is to get mentored your speech in the next speech when you're giving. The areas of, I think that would be the best bit. Otherwise, the flow was good, and you are put across the sections in a very beautiful way. So that's it from my hand. The only thing which I would want to work on is like get mentored your speech. That's it. Over to you, Akshay.
Thank you, speech evaluator Chetana. So first, let us hear what I have to share about Speaker Bimpy's speech. Unveiling your life in a nutshell is very well done, with colorful elements as to what all she has tried was beautifully sprinkled throughout the story. But I would like to challenge Speaker with how to use the purposeful hand gestures. What I felt was at times your hand gestures were within the frame, but it was going down. Second, you should work on your tenses a bit, because I felt the tenses gave a bit abrupt transition. So that is something from me. Evaluator Chetana, I really loved how you commended the speaker from the elements of the speech by stating what all you loved. You also highlighted that the speaker should practice the speech. That was mentioned why as well. What I would recommend is to structure your evaluation as to the CRC. If like I will be sharing 3 points which I really love, and then mention as to which are the points which the speaker needs to work upon. The practice point definitely helps, but what else the speaker can work? from the content which you have. Otherwise, well done. Let's have a round of applause for speaker Bimpy and Evaluator Chain. Let's move ahead to our third speaker, the speech titled The Holy Trinity. And I would welcome Evaluator Punith. He is someone who enjoys reading non-fiction books, experimenting with new concepts, practitioner of getting things done method by David Allen, which he is practicing in his life. He holds a position as an ex-com member in the Toastmasters Indira Nagar Pride Club. Furthermore, he is currently in a journey of exploration with the realm of Toastmasters and value learning from others through meaningful interactions. Over to you, Evaluator Punith.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akshay, for the warm welcome. I always love the speeches which has personal experience and personal stories. I love the way you shared your speeches, which has a journey of your yoga. There are multiple things that I liked in your speech. Let me go one by one. There are multiple ways to connect with an audience. Some of the ways are asking a questions, coming with an interesting content, or connecting the audience with the activities. And you did all three, and I enjoyed it. I connected with your speech. There are some parts in your speech where there was a completely new to me, but I was able to understand that. For example, the modes pranayama, some things. I may not remember the modes pranayama future, but I still remember the how we should do the exercises. And that's the way you made us to understand the concept. I can understand. I can praise you for that. Then I like the call to actions. The way you mentioned, I thought it is only for the people who are worrying about chronic diseases, but it is also for others. Where you mentioned the importance of experimenting and new experience have in your life. That is, I like the call to actions. There are some words that you use that that catch my attention. Different, normal, the Baba overview. Those things caught my attention. The overall content was new, but you presented in such a way that I was able to connect with you. I can understand that. In terms of how can I make it the speech better? I don't have much comments, but one, in start of your speech, you asked the questions who are all having know about chronic diseases or diabetes. Some people raise their hand, some others not raise the hand. You mentioned that this is for the people who are suffering the diabetes, and you missed other audience. Somewhere you can come up with some stats saying diabetes or chronic diseases are important by saying after 35 years or 40 years, these percentage of the people are getting these diabetes. So it is very important to listen to the speeches. Somehow you come up with some stats to connect with the other audience also. So overall, I like the takeaways from your speech. That is brilliant and inspiring. All the best for your upcoming speeches. Thank you, and over to General Evaluator Akshay.
Thank you. Now I would like to share feedback for speaker Srijitha, her speech titled The Holy Trinity. I really loved your captivating exploration of how the Holy Trinity comes into. What I also loved was your gestures and the voice modulation with the emphasis which you gave on key points. Apart from this, the other aspect which I really loved was how you engaged with the audience, getting them start their videos, doing some action. So that was done very well. As you continue to shine on the stage, I have this one recommendation which I believe you can still utilize. I saw that whiteboard constantly on my screen. I would have loved if you could have given some visual aids on that board as well, so that you could utilize your environment to your best of your ability. Otherwise, well done. Evaluated Punith. Interesting form of evaluation. You were very critical at the start. You mentioned what all you love. You gave a lot of commendation points and where exactly you felt. Apart from that, you said towards the end that I have not much point, but one which was very interesting point as to speakers should not divide the audience. So that is very crucial. What I would love is your gestures. Again, you're trying to make a point, keep them within camera frame so that you can specifically mention that this is one crucial point which I felt apart from your entire speech, which will help to captivate all the audiences. That is just one thing to emphasize as an evaluator. Otherwise, well done. So let's have a round of applause for Srijitha as well as Punith. Let's go ahead with our fourth speaker, the leap of a lifetime. The speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Shaifali. She is a certified coach, soft skills trainer, and image consultant. Over 13 years of her corporate experience in developing people, processes, and organizations. She specializes in HRM, executive coaching, soft skills training, and facilitation. She aims to enable transformation through shifts in behavior and personality by coaching and mentoring her clients. Let us welcome Toastmaster Shaifali onto this. Over to you.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. Sanjana, I would like to really congratulate you by saying what great energy you had, and the storytelling really worked very well. What were the key points that stood out for me were some words like conflict between mind and heart, the Ivy League comparison that you used, and there were some descriptive words that you used very well, like stealthily moved, resonated in the air, deceived by the shadows. What I particularly liked was the invisible cloak that you spoke about. That was like really descriptive, and it completely matched the objective of your speech, which was to use descriptive words and add literary elements to create impact. So those were a couple of things, and a lot more that you used very well, like taking the leap of a lifetime, not worth the risk. So all those actually made your story very strong. What you could start incorporating, and what I thought would have made this more impactful, would be use of metaphors, similes, because somewhere I felt that the body language was taking over the actual story. So while the objective was to use descriptive words, I was getting distracted by your body language and the vocals and the speed in which you were speaking. And the thought that came to my mind that probably sometimes less is more, because you were using the descriptive words. You were making sure that your story was engaging. However, that's one feedback I would like to give you on that. And I think overall, a brilliant attempt. Congratulations on your speech.
Thank you, Shaifali. Now to share about our speakers, Sanjana, your speech was captivating with its vivid descriptions and the body language you had, with a meaningful message which came towards the end. While your descriptive language and body definitely shined in your speech, what I would recommend is you align your facial expressions and emotions in your voice, not just the facial expression when you're showing the anxiety or the depth, but also in your voice that should reflect, so that both of them goes in sync, which will give you an impact when you're delivering. Toastmasters Shaifali, I really loved, definitely 13 years of specialization was evident in your evaluation. You pointed out what is the objective and how she has achieved it. You also gave a very good recommendation as to what has happened and why exactly there is this speech. I really loved how you brought in the elements of the speech, as well as you had a list. If time would permit, you might have listed all of them. So it shows that you're a very good listener. What I want you to recommend is, you gave one feedback to the speaker, right? Speaker is already towards her level 3 around speech, right? You can incorporate few more feedbacks, like at least 2 to 3 points which the speaker can incorporate in her speech. Otherwise, well done, Shaifali and Toastmaster Sanjana. So that's our round of applause for them. All right, let's go ahead to our fifth speech, Game of Thrones, which shall be evaluated by Toastmaster Sahana, who is the VP Education of Converse Falcon BTC Club and the Area Director for D1. She works as a firmware engineer at Falcon. In her free time, she loves reading and traveling. Over to you, Sahana.
Thank you so much. General Evaluator Toastmaster Akshay, and a very, very good evening to my target speaker, Toastmaster Chitrakshi. Toastmaster Chitrakshi, I absolutely loved your speech. So the very first thing that caught my eye was the title of the speech. Being an avid fan of the show and the books, that instantly caught everyone's attention, and really hats off for that brilliant title. And the purpose of your project was to practice a change management plan and how to manage changes and everything. And your speech covered the objective perfectly. You started from how you face the change, and you took us through your thought process of what exactly had to be done for you to overcome that. And it's very evident your storytelling skills are absolutely beautiful. The way you're starting, the opening, the body of the speech, and the ending was really good. And the third really amazing point was your body language and your tone modulation. So that gave a greater impact to your speech, and please continue to use that in your future speeches as well. So coming to a small point of improvement that I noticed was you could have probably elaborated more on how to embrace the change in a general sense. You didn't mention how you embrace the change, but if you can give a general sense of maybe tips for everyone else who is listening to it, probably that might give a better impact. So apart from that, you did a great job, and kudos.
Thank you, Sahana. So let us begin with our first speaker, Toastmaster Chitrakshi. Definitely, like the intricate alliances the Game of Thrones had, right? You specifically mentioned in your eloquent speech as to the reason why two Gabbys club have been formed, but all work together as one family. So that was beautifully mentioned in the speech. I really love the modulation as well as the emphasis, and most of the points have been shared by Sahana. What I would challenge you yourself is, you mentioned about the three distinguished Toastmasters who have came up with that decision, right? Those visual representations of them is what I felt was missing. Somewhere in your change, when you are sharing about it, I felt the visual aspect is something which you can highlight as to who drove that change. You shared it because in most of the members in the audience are from Gabbys, they might be able to relate. But someone for like me, I could relate why the club is two, but who drove it, that part was missing. Otherwise, well done. Evaluator Sahana, I really loved how you divided your evaluation. First, you mentioned the areas. You also mentioned specifically the objective which was achieved. You gave a wonderful feedback, which is you felt which was missing. What I would recommend is, let's structure the evaluation. So when you started your speech evaluation, you mentioned the target speaker. That is something which we do during a contest. But in a club meeting or during a speech marathon, let's address the speaker with their name and structure it in the CRC format with commendation, a recommendation, and a conclusion summary. Otherwise, it was done well. Let's have a round of applause for Chitrakshi and Sahana. Let's move to our sixth speaker, titled Dimensions of Curiosity. I would like to mention the evaluator. She's a content writer, passionate reader, introvert who finds joy in conversations. She immerses herself in diverse music genres, language, while her free evenings are spent treasure hunting in vintage bookstores and stationery stores. Hailing from Mumbai, she cherishes the sunrises and sunsets at Marine Drive. And so do I. Over to you, Joanne.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. First of all, congratulations, distinguished Toastmaster Sourav Dutta. You achieved the purpose of your project this time. You were successfully able to manage a very difficult and, must I say, a little rowdy crowd in this speech that you handled today. Kudos to you for that. Now, I'm not going to talk about the speech or the content or the lessons. They were beautiful. I loved it. I was hooked to the curiosity part, but that is not the purpose today. The purpose for me is to evaluate how did you manage the audience. So let me say what I liked. You came in with a lot of strategies. You started with diplomacy. When Nancy came in and she started asking you questions, and those were long questions, the first thing I observed was you were patient. Patiently, you heard out what she said. Many a times I feel like before the audience says something, if it's long, people try to cut in and then their hostility starts. But you patiently waited. So that's a really good strategy, patience. And you very diplomatically tackled her. Another strategy that was used, very good. You used the strategy of turning around a question. You had a very hostile audience in Chitrakshi. I mean, Chitrakshi was acting as a hostile audience. And what you did when she was asking you these questions, or rather not asking, but bombarding you with, how could you talk about beer? How could you talk about alcohol? This is Toastmasters. You stopped her and then you turned around and asked her a question. So that was another strategy that you used. Fantastic. I loved the way you managed it. And we all could see that in end of the day, whether they were assigned, whether they were acting or not, they all calmed down and you managed it quite well. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. But there are some things I think you could have used more. You are a distinguished Toastmaster. And with that, I'll tell you, the expectations are set a little high. And to that end, few areas of improvement. The first thing is, you did not use any power that body language as voice modulation has when it comes to controlling your audience. For example, when your fourth audience, that was Toastmaster Bindu, she was acting a know-it-all. Like she came in and said, we have terms for this. This is Google. You could have simply said, Toastmaster Bindu, very good. Wow, I completely agree with you. You're absolutely right. There is everything in Google. But then, Bindu, won't you agree that there are also personal stories that we can talk about? And I'm sure you have your personal stories too. And I'm sure you will be interested. So this is the power of voice modulation, that voice modulation will help you to control the audience. Instead of using that voice modulation, you said, it's your choice, whether you want to listen to me or not. So that is my second recommendation. There is a very famous saying, it requires wisdom to understand wisdom. The music is useless if the audience is deaf. So when you have an audience who is a know-it-all or completely hostile, keep in your mind that they don't have the wisdom to understand what you're saying. So when you go and say, you know what, if you want, stay, otherwise you can go and Google. That's like fighting with someone who's deaf. Instead of that, just agree. Just say, yes, I completely agree with you. But then use your voice to control that audience and bring it back. And my last recommendation to you is what, learn the art of subtle ignorance. When it came to Chitrakshi and the beer controversy started, I felt like the topic went a little haywire. There are beer and wine, Toastmaster clubs here and there. Wow. You could have simply said, very good point, Chitrakshi. I'll take a note of this and I'll think about it. Thank you. That was a very interesting comment. But then let's come back to curiosity and leave this topic as a curiosity for the audience and continue. When there is someone who's completely hostile, identify this person as hostile, ignore. Don't try to mingle with them or, don't try to entertain them. Overall, you have managed this very well. You have brought in strategies like diplomacy, turning around the questions, but use the power of voice and body language and learn the subtle art of agreement and ignorance. And then I think you will do a fantastic job next time. Thank you. And back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Evaluator Joanne. Speaker Sourav, I'm listening to you handling the audience the second time. As soon as your speech title was shared, I was really curious to know as to how you will handle the audience today. And I believe you did better as compared to the last time. Only one recommendation I have from you, from my side, but most of the points Joanne has already covered. What I felt was, as soon as we came towards the end, you ended abruptly so that no one else interrupts or maybe due to the red card or question. So just ensure there is a smooth transition towards your conclusion so that you manage the audience beautifully. Evaluator Joanne, I really loved how you divided as to what were the strengths in the speaker in handling the audience, what all tactics and tricks he tried during the speech, as well as you recommended on the areas which he needs to work upon as a speaker while handling the audience. Only one recommendation, structure it such that it is succinct, such that you do not overshoot. What I also felt was when you were mentioning about the strengths the speaker had, you went a bit along. So try to cut them down short, as to many might have already witnessed it, but what the speaker can do differently, that is something which we don't know. So spend some time over there, otherwise well done. Let's have a round of applause for Sourav and Joanne. Let's go to our seventh speech titled Believe, which shall be evaluated by Toastmaster Bindu. Toastmaster Bindu, Sorry, yes, Sahana. Yes. Toastmaster Bindu is someone who believes that what goes around comes around. Helpful feedback has helped her tremendously on a Toastmaster journey. And today, that's what she hopes to give back. Over to you, Toastmaster Bindu.
Jyothi, I had the privilege of speaking to you yesterday. And believe me, listening about your life journey, your background, I was inspired even before this speech. You could say I was prejudiced even before I heard your speech about your vision. But today you justified that prejudice. You showed me that the passion you spoke to me with yesterday is reflected in your daily life, in your work that you do, which is amazing. I found all your various multifaceted work really fascinating. Now, let me divide my particular evaluation for your speech into 3 categories. One is Zoom artistry, because you mentioned to me that that was of particular concern to you, speechcraft, and of course, whether you met the objectives of your project or whether there is a certain subtle ways of meeting those objectives a little better. Now, let's start with Zoom artistry. Kudos to you. You said that you just recently learned about advanced sharing and how to do the PPT stuff. Now, just a few notes about when you're using technology like advanced sharing. One thing is there's always the balance of attention span of your audience, you versus what you have in the background. Now, some of the things that I might suggest is, one is the dialogue, keep it limited and in alignment with your speech. I found that at certain points, the dialogue was not exactly in alignment with what you're speaking. So I was busy reading the dialogue and then I got distracted and what you were speaking was something else. The second thing is, if you're using pictures, try to limit it to 1 picture. Again, that helps less attention deficit from your audience. Now, let me come to the speech craft as such. Now, it was about a vision. You started out with what you were doing and multiple projects. And somewhere in between, I thought that your vision was to rectify a project that went wrong. And your game plan was to rectify that. I thought that was a vision you were talking about. Then you went on to another project. And at the end, you brought that game plan back. Now, I felt that everything is maybe a little disconnected. And considering that your project is about your one vision, I would probably suggest concentrate on that. Expand on that vision. Maybe structure it as first who you are, why this project is so important to you. What was the hiccups and your game plan? We'd love to hear a little bit more about the structure of the game plan, even though, of course, that is the results of the game plan will definitely come in your next speech. But what exactly the game plan is, that should come in this speech. All in all, I still stay inspired and wait for your next inspiring speech. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Bindu. Speaker Jyothi, indeed, develop your vision was the project objective, and that's what I want you to recommend is the images which you used on your presentation, right? Although you learned how to share the screen with you being on the same screen as well as sharing about the presentation, what I felt the images became a bit blurry for me. So what you can do is you can try to keep those images on one side, divide as to how you can see the virtual background, right? One side divided the content and the other side is free. So similarly, you can do that for your presentation. That is one challenge which I want you to try the next time. Otherwise, well done. Evaluator Bindu, I really loved you mentioned the points of commendation and immediately you mentioned what on that aspect was the recommendation. I also really love that you connected with the speaker beforehand to understand which elements she wants you to focus much more. and that's where you share your evaluation, keeping in check the objective of the speech. So kudos to you, very beautifully done. The structure which you shared, well, it's a challenging structure to mention the commendation and recommendation, but with your visual notes as well as the modulation and the gestures we had, it was clearly I was able to follow. So kudos to you. But one thing I would try to challenge you is next time when you are sharing, right, the conclusion was very quick because you saw the red card. Try to elaborate and summarize your points over there. And that's one feedback for you. Otherwise, well done. Let's have a round of applause for Jyothi and Bindu. Thank you. With this, in the last 10 minutes of our speech marathon, let me share feedback for each of the role players whom I have heard right from the start of the meeting. First, I would like to commend the club officers who diligently helped me with the agenda, the speaking order, all the changes which are being done were constantly modified on the agenda which I received. As soon as I opened my message, the latest agenda was intact and it had all the changes. So let's have a round of applause for the Gabbys club officers who are ensuring that the meeting is flawless with all the relevant information available to the external Toastmasters. The second aspect is the Sergeant at Arms who began the meeting. He definitely shared all the guidelines and an elaborate one. The only one feedback which I have for the Sergeant at Arms is that I felt while you were reading the script, you were visually keeping your eyes onto the script. Try to engage with the audience as you are the first speaker of the day. Also, in your voice, I felt somewhere it went monotonous. So try to modulate in different rules and guidelines which you want to share. Otherwise, well done. Let's have a round of applause for Chaitanya, Toastmaster of the day and the presiding officer, Shrilakshmi. I shall definitely commend you for starting the context of the meeting by sharing what Toastmasters is to you. At that time, when you were sharing, it was directly from the heart because you were looking at the audience. So that shows the credibility that you really enjoy the program. And that is a start which I will look forward to when I have joined the meeting. So kudos to you. And throughout the meeting, we have been introducing the speakers, mentioning their objectives, mentioning their path, and the speech title in the protocol, which is name, speech title, name. So kudos to you. Very well done, Toastmaster Shrilakshmi. Timer Samita. What I loved was you definitely shared about the rule. You gave all the guidelines in one because we were short on time given the speech marathon. One thing which I want you to incorporate is show the cards demonstration so that I can acclimatize my eyesight to the cards which are different in colors because each clubs may have a different color of cards. At Gabbys, all the speakers might be aware, but we had today external speakers. So let them know what kind of cards you're going to use by showcasing them so that it becomes easier for them and it is not a surprise during this speech. Otherwise, well done. Let's have a round of applause for Toastmaster Sam. With this, I truly enjoyed the speech marathon with beautiful speeches as well as the wonderful evaluations giving insights to the speakers and feedback. I hope I could add some value. Looking forward to hear from you all as to how I perform my role of general evaluation. And for that, you can reach out to any of your VP educations. They have my number. Please do share your feedback. I too wish to improve and become better on this lovely platform of Toastmasters. With this, that's my time. I now hand it over to our presiding officer, Toastmaster Shrilakshmi. Over to you.
Thank you, Akshay Singh. I request Toastmaster Samita to show the timer card. Is all the speakers, your letters are qualified for pooling?
Hello, good evening. So here is my timer report. All of them have qualified except Joanne, who has crossed the time limit. I have pasted it in the chat box.
Thank you.
Persons can see. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Samita. I want to thank you for playing the timer, taking up the timer role. It's the important role in all our Toastmasters meeting. Thank you very much. I request everyone to give Toastmaster Samita for playing timer role very well. And I want to thank from my bottom of my heart that extra role players, whether it's GE Akshay Singh for joining us, for taking up the role, all the extra, whether it's Jyothi Thomas for joining us today for delivering her speech, whether it's Srijitha Raj being the speaker at our today speech marathon, for joining us, helping our speech marathon run successfully. And I want to thank evaluators also, whether it's Sahana Nagaraj, or I request any guest to share their feedback, anything we are good with or anything we want to improve. Any guest want to share, please share your feedback.
Meanwhile, I launched the poll for evaluators and request everybody to cast their votes for evaluators. And also I'll be launching the polls for best role takers.
Okay, Karth, sure. Anyone want to share feedback of today's meeting? Sure.
May I please?
Sure, please share.
Thank you. I truly am grateful for even giving me this particular slot to speak. I came in once, I found out about you at the leadership speech, my club, which is, I'm a dual member there. You were so good. And the way each speaker came up with your evaluations, the flow, your entire poster was very, very encouraging. I was truly happy that I was able to come here and give it. So I'm very grateful for that. I love the way the G took on, and I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, like he had everything in place. And each one of you, the speeches were so good. I truly loved it. Words fail me, and I'll write a whole story and send it across. Wishing you all the very best. You are where you are because you deserve it, I think. As whatever I see as of today, I'm not painting a rosy picture. What I saw today was good. And thank you for giving me the slot to speak. Thank you to my dear friend, Toastmaster Bindu, for taking the time off to evaluate me. Thank you so much. I will reciprocate the goodness. If ever I have to do a role, I'll be more than happy to take it up for you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jyothi. You are very much welcome to our club. Join our meetings. You are very much welcome. And we want to thank you for delivering your speech. Any guest want to share your feedback? You are very much, please share your feedback or anything we are good at or anything we need to do more improvements. Anyone? Any guest want to share any feedback? I request you to share.
I want to share a feedback on the guest. I want to share feedback on DTM Akshay Singh as a general evaluator. Akshay, I absolutely loved your calmness and your poise and how you brought what you brought in and your role. You were calm at the same time. You were very, objective in your feedback. So the entire time, you did not have wishy-washy remarks like everything was fine or this was great. I also like the fact that you were respectful for the evaluators, that you never went on doing a detailed evaluation of the speakers. Doing a general evaluation of a speech marathon is a very difficult job. And I must thank you for joining us and doing this, and really appreciate you being at the Gabbys. I absolutely have no recommendations. I just have this video to teach other people how to play the role of a general evaluator. Thank you, Akshay.
Thank you, Sourav.
I want to thank
using my video.
I want to thank Akshay for playing the GE role very calmly. No, thank you very much, Akshay. Thank you, Jyothi, and thank you to Toastmaster Srijitha for picking up role for joining us today. Now coming to the role taker, main role taker. Any who is the best role taker? Can anyone share with me? Anyone?
G?
Yes, it's DTM Akshay Singh. He's the best role taker for our today's speech marathon. Congratulations, Akshay Singh.
TM, please smile. You got such a big award.
Yeah, definitely.
I love DTM Sourav's speech too very much.
Now coming to the best evaluator. Anyone have any idea who is the best evaluator? Anyone? Do you have anyone else? Can I open it? Can I open the bubble? Can I burst the bubble? It's none other than Bindu Joseph. Congratulations, Bindu Joseph, for being the best evaluator at our today's speech marathon. Heartiest congratulations. Now, as a thank you everyone, all the role takers from the Gabbys family and our guests for joining us and playing the roles and helping us running the our speech marathon successfully. Now it's time to close the meeting. As a presiding officer, I officially declare our speech marathon close. Thank you, everyone.
Wow, that's brilliant. Exact 9 o'clock.
Thank you, DTM Akshay. Thank you, Srijitha. Thank you, Shrilakshmi.
Thank you.
It was very well done, PO. Thank you, Shrilakshmi. Thank you, Toastmaster Jyothi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Karthik,
Very
thank you
good
so
job.
much. DTM Sourav, I don't know how you had that much of patience. They really rocked it out. Thank you.